and WTAP. This is home.
It was a hot summer day. I was sitting outside on my porch talking on my cordless phone. Well, it started to rain, but I was covered, so I wasn't getting wet. I heard some thunder rumbling in the distance. Then I heard a loud crack. The lightning came out of the sky and it hit my right arm. I felt this horrible searing pain. And then my spirit just peeled up out of my body. And then what happened after that was both magnificent and frightening at the same time.
Being struck by lightning. It's a near-death experience you don't hear about too often. Sharon is here today with how she almost died and what she says she saw. So before we get to what you saw when you crossed over, what does it actually feel like to be struck by lightning?
It's a horrible pain. It's burning, searing, horrific. It's just a horrific pain.
So you remember the pain, and then that lightning damaged your heart, so you collapsed.
Yes.
What do you remember happened then? What did you see when you crossed over?
Well, my spirit just peeled up out of my body, and I went into my house, and it was my house, but nothing in my house was my stuff. And I heard a old-time radio playing, and it sounded like something from back in the Waltons, like what you would hear on the Waltons.
Like 100 years ago, 80 years ago.
Yeah, and it was like back in the 20s or 30s. But after the lightning hit my arm, it traveled under the house and it blew the transformer in front of our house, so we didn't have any power. The whole neighborhood didn't have any power.
So there couldn't have been any music in the house?
No, we were without power. And I knew that I had been struck by lightning, but I didn't know I was dead yet. So I was really confused about what was going on, and apparently I was a ghost.
Did you transition from this older version of your house without your stuff in it, from a bygone era to heaven? Did you actually, because your experience is different from what I hear from many who have crossed over.
Well, after about 2 or 3 minutes of this period of this weird period, there was this presence that appeared. It was a huge, huge loving presence. It was formless presence, and it just filled me full of this unbelievable love like I'd never ever experienced in my life. And I went from being in this house that I knew was my house and didn't have anything in it that belonged to me, to going into these beautiful pink and gold clouds. And I didn't go up or down, I went sideways. And we moved very, very quickly through these pink and gold clouds. And at the end of the pink and gold clouds, I was in this beautiful garden. And it was the most magnificent garden that I've ever seen in my life. The colors were so rich and vibrant, and the pinks were pinker and the reds were redder, and the air was so soft and sweet.
You saw 2 people there.
Yes. When I first got into the garden, these 2 young men greeted me, and they were at first I thought they were angels, but then it hit me. They were my 2 brothers who had died as babies, and they were fully grown men, and they looked just like my dad when my dad was a young man. And I had my life review, and it was like watching an old-fashioned movie on an old-fashioned movie reel. It was a black and white movie. And it was from everything from the time I was born until the time I died.
Why didn't you stay there? Why did you come back?
I didn't really have a choice. It was, I had to come back, and I don't know why.
Let's talk about that. But like Tricia, Sharon says she has lingering questions. So let me bring our grief counselor back, Anna Raimondi. Wait, first of all, this story, elements of it are recurrent, elements that are very different. So what do you make out of this? How do you make sense of it for us? And I'm especially curious about why she was sent back.
Well, she was sent back also for the same reason, to tell her story. And it may not, it may not be standing on a podium. It may be in community. Are you very religious? Are you very religious? Because I feel like it also moves through religion. Who's Kathleen, Catherine, and Mary?
My mother.
And who's the Catherine or the Kathleen?
My mother is Mary Catherine.
Okay, is your grandmother Catherine? Okay, because I know these are two separate people, okay? They're very much around you on your journey, okay? And also trying to heal you, you know, from some of the things that are affecting you. And they're very much around the little boy. Do you have a little son or a grandson?
A grandson.
Okay, his name begins with a C or K.
Connor.
Okay, they're
What's
very...
the name?
Connor.
Connor.
They're very much around him. I don't know if there's confusion going on around him or in some way, but they're trying to give him clarity as they're trying to make you see things more clearly as well. Okay? Yeah, her experience was a little bit different, but I also feel like it was a different kind of trauma. You know, who's Jerry?
Jerry's my dad.
Is he living?
Yeah.
Because your mother's saying, I love him, I love him, I love him. Please be around him. Does he live close to you?
Yeah, a few blocks away.
Yeah,
I'm with him
yeah,
all the
yeah.
time.
It's important that you stay around with him because he's still grieving. He's still grieving. He's okay though.
I can't even begin to understand how you know this stuff. Although I can tell you, we don't feed any of this information to you, and I'm stunned, but I know that you've talked to many of my producers, and they all feel the same sense of awe that I have sitting here listening to you tell the story. Sharon, as you hear and try to make sense of why this happened to you, how does it affect you?
I agree with what she's saying. I mean, I promised God when I was a little girl that I would take care of my parents in their older years, and I was a caregiver for my mother for the last 6 years of her life, as she had Alzheimer's, and I took care of her until she died, and then I took care of my dad for a while after her death, and he's doing very well, and he's very happy now.
So your task is to keep doing that, from what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
I see your mother in a church, by the way. I see her in a church.
But she's passed away.
No, not
Oh,
because
you
she's
see-
passed away.
you see her
She's
now.
praying.
Oh, I believe that.
Are they Catholic?
Mhm.
Okay, because it looks like a Catholic church, and she's lighting candles. She wants you to never be afraid.
Good advice going forward. Thank you, Anna, for the advice. We're going to hear lots more from Anna on the Dr. Oz podcast. We'll be right back.